it's not the type of comp that CFO actually run well. I'll just say that. CFO are very good at running 4-1 comps. They're good at stalling out. But in terms of coordination, they're actually one of the more lackluster teams out of the J-Team trifecta. So we'll see if the 3 weeks we haven't seen, the 2 weeks we haven't seen them in have improved their synergy. Or else, I'm handing this one to J-Team.
Okay, well, because J-Team in this series, like, I would have said the complete opposite with what I've seen so far. That J-Team are the team that, need to show up and show us something.
True.
CFO are the ones I'm trusting right now because of the solo lane difference we've seen, the jungle difference as well. I mean, it's just been a bit of a riffy-diffy, to be quite honest, here in the series. CFO 2-0. It's match point to move to the semifinals in the PCS 2022 Spring Playoffs. And as we get a bit of an invade to start off here, Uniboy just getting zoned out. Koala with the deep ward. Ramus says okay. And we're seeing, again, a very different draft coming through. So, Clement, if you're Gemini, at least in the early phase, how do you set up these lanes when they have such different conditions from what we've seen in previous games?
So I think this is going to be a top focus game from Gemini. Okay. In the mid lane, Mission, he might die a couple times, but in the grand scheme of things, I don't think it honestly matters that much. In the bot lane, you're not expected to win unless you get some crazy level 1 cheese. I would be very surprised if they get a level 1 or level 2 all-in from CFO's side. J-Team are very well aware of that. So for me, that really just leaves top lane by elimination. You want to make sure that Kongre can't gank this lane early. That rest, we have seen him do this, can actually snowball against a Jace if he finds an early lead.
He does. Put himself into the brush. Nice little trade here, but look at the return from Driver. Rest now at half HP, but it is fleet footwork versus phase rush. So his top lane already brews up to be quite nice. Gemini is doing a topside start. The same here for Kongyue. All lanes lead towards the bottom side. Clement, we didn't talk too much about Shun here on this Kai'Sa. This was a bit of a pick out of left field, considering that we had things like Jinx available. We had the Aphelios as well. Shun wanting something that can play with the close range we talked about.
Yeah, this is a very interesting pick. We have seen Kai'Sa being used as a semi-counter to Xayah. It does lose the lane in terms of the push, but its strength is in the fact that once you hit that level 6, you can use Killer Instincts to completely sidestep the Blade Caller. It's very easy to do. You also have the speed up with your E. So we have seen this being used as a level 6 kill lane, but it's pretty difficult to maneuver early on. I feel like you give a lot of freedom over to the Xayah lane to do whatever they want in the early game. Now, of course, the first 2 levels, again, you're running Hala Blaze and you have your passive, so the first 2 levels are somewhat okay for the Kai'Sa, but it does get rougher down the line.
Do you remember the Beyond Gaming series, or not series, but game, earlier in the split, where Wako played the Kai'Sa? It was the hybrid build coming through. And, we've seen a lot of that throughout competitive play, and feels like it is the best build with 3 upgrades. And the damage in the late game is also a bit insane. So, kind of excited to watch Shun's build path here in this game and see how he goes. Considering that CFO are on match point and such a big deal, is Mission going to spot out Kongyue. Good little ward here off on the side. Kongyue going to be running into Gemini, though. Before we can talk about the late game, we have to talk about the early trades. Gemini going to be backing away from this one, just letting Kongyue take Scuttle and being as patient as so.
Yep, I think like Gemini sort of mistimed that. He tried to go in for a Smite Steal. Kongyue managed to get that done pretty early on. Yep. That's the thing about Poppy. She's very safe as a champion. Even if she gets tagged down, if you don't miscast your W, you should be fine in most instances, and she scales incredibly well compared to more of the assassin-y type of junglers out there. We have seen J-Team actually run with Kongyue's Poppy. It was a losing effort against actually CFO, but I feel like it was a very different composition where they were trying to engage with this Poppy. I feel like this game, they don't need to, so Poppy's biggest weakness is down. Ooh.
Oh, walking into a brush. Hang on, there's a bit of a mistake from Koala. He has to flash away, but he's already dead. Matched by Lil V. Good start here from J-Team in the 2v2. Once again, a first blood.
Yeah, that was... I'm not sure why you would face check in that manner if you're just going to die right after. Definitely a bit of a mistake from Koala, and it's interesting to see Koala actually play 3 games of Nautilus right off the bat. I in no ways think that this is Koala's best champion. I feel like he's actually better on the Tahm Kench. But this is what they've decided for, and as we said, this lane typically gets very rough before it gets better. We're seeing Lil V already with the kill, Serrated Dirk. This is actually incredibly hard to deal with. It's very accelerated on this first back. So the bot lane's going to get a lot worse, and hopefully Mission can have a say on it.
As Koala Hex flashes over the wall. Look at this. Mission into Uniboy. Won't matter as Enzo's now matching. But Koala trying to bring a bad play into a good one. And as we see a 2v2 through mid, we also know that Kongyue is nearby, so nothing else is going to happen. Just an attempt to force Uniboy out. And Clement, here in this early game, talking a little bit more about the bottom lane, things are definitely going to get worse with Lil V now having a serrated Dirk. The poke here on this Xayah, you can already see starting to affect Shun, and Kongyue wanting to build around the strength of their bottom lane and get the ball rolling once again.
Yeah, I feel like CFO, they don't really come online until they're level 6 in the bot side. They need that killer instinct to make plays, get past the Featherstorm, Blade Caller, and actually have a wombo combo to play through. So right now, J-Team gets to do whatever they want. The most important thing for them, I think, is keeping ahead or steady in lane. And unfortunately, their top lane, once again, is getting bullied out. That CS difference starting to stack.
I mean, it's Mission, again, who's had a push in mid, goes to the top side, and Rest and Mission are their own little game right now. A 10 CS lead with Serrated Dirk, a big deal. JT, in the meantime, this is the trade-off, though. At the very least, getting the push in towards mid as a response and getting this first dragon on the board. It is a good start to this game number 3 for the team that desperately needs a good start. That it feels like each and every early game has been kind of either abysmal or slow, Clement.
It definitely has been, and we have to pay close attention to Driver in this lane. He is very much in kill range. Rest does not have the collateral damage, but he does have Mission there, and this top lane matchup, we've seen a couple times in the PCS already, it does tend to be a very zero-sum game. Like, if one side gets a lead, they just start to walk up onto you and start pummeling you down, especially when you consider the builds here. Usually, both sides will have sustain, and the damage is overwhelming. Ooh.
They're diving this. Yeah, they're diving onto Koala. He's taken up against wall, but the charge from Kongyue, absolutely beautiful with the flash forward onto Lil V. Shun with the trade. Gorgeous to see as Driver now all leaning on top of Gemini, gets the smite down to heal up, but in a bit of trouble. Gemini flashes over the wall. The Driver wants to be the passenger for this ride, but it's a close call at the very least. Nicely done from the top laner who's losing out, but unfortunately he's used quite a lot of mana to try and make sure Gemini doesn't kill it.
Oh, bot lane ends up a bit of a disaster for J-Team, honestly. They needed to secure that kill cleanly, but they traded the AD carry back, while also trading negatively in summoners on that position. So we'll watch this again, but I think what happened is Lil V actually over-tanked this one. It definitely should have allowed the supports to tank it first. So we'll see Enzo takes 2 shots right here, but then it swaps over to Lil V. He takes 2 tower shots and the Q and falls down. Very unfortunate right there on the timing. Anyone else, and he would have stayed alive.
Rough that it trades off as we go to the top side, at least for Enzo now, getting involved with Rest. He's out with the collateral damage. He burnt the flash, but here's Kongyue! The flash train, dude. I love it. J-Team's jungler getting busy, but now Gemini wants revenge. Ultimate comes through. He still roots him down, but the hero's entrance is perfectly timed from Mission. A little root down with the flash shield of Duran will keep him steadfast, and Kongyue ends in a shutdown. They use a lot, but CFO got what they came for.
Yeah, that was a really nonchalant play coming in from Rez. He actually walks back directly into the Poppy and says, you know what, I might die here, but I got the play that I wanted to get. So, J-Team sending multiple menors top lane. They do catch out Rez. Unfortunately, Driver doesn't have the mana to really finish him off at range. Rez actually walks in onto this one just to keep everyone there. To be honest, probably unneeded. It was a kind of your rest BM play there, and a very good timing on Mission there to actually get the Ran entrance down before Gemini gets knocked out.
I mean, again, Mission, great play, and, you know, kind of what you expect out of this series. Nice that J-Team were trying to build tempo again, though. Like, Kongyue gets to the top side and finishes off the kill, trying to make something happen here, and gold is still even to their credit. You know, J-Team still have a lot going for them in this game plan that you talked about as root under turret. Lil V has to ulti, but look, you talked about the interaction. Shun helping out with the turret shot as well. Lil V's dead. That ulti, gorgeous. The killer instinct, you can see it in his eyes. Enzo's up next on the menu, boys, as Shun follows through. Double kill close to. Koala flashes because it looks like a bit of shielding helped out. But CFO always want to take the skill trades.
Little V has just been so unlucky this entire series. I feel like Koala has just had Little V's number throughout every single game. Every single game he's been able to just find a point-blank dredge line right in front of Little V.
What?
Beautiful manipulation of the hitbox right there. Scrapes Little V, Killer Instinct into the back. It doesn't dodge out on the full blade collar, but enough to avoid the root, and Shun still has the firepower to chase down. Koala plays this a little bit too smart, actually misses out on the E, but he flashes in to clean it up.
Worth it, dude. He's the carry. Remember game 2? Koala needs kills, dude. He needs kills. That's right, Club, but he's the drop bear. And, you know, Shun's already got a couple anyway. It's a 2-0 Kaiser with Manamune picked up, and J-Team, even after it's gone wrong a couple of times, they want to try this one again. Solar Flare used. Cleanse now to get the movement speed. Koala needs to help out on this one as Kongyue is denied. Enso with the Zenith Blade, a bit short range. J-Team have committed 4 members down here now with Uniboy over the wall. You can see it's just for the Herald play, so getting Lil V a bit more of that space, while Gemini is still taking down the purple Shelly.
So all in all, I feel like this trade's actually not bad for J-Team. Even though there is a Herald being taken, if you look at their top lane tower, that was most likely going to go down anyway. Bot lane, they can't trade effectively against it. And mid lane, I think Uniboy should be getting to the point where he can start to control the wave with his first mythic. So I think this trade overall does favor J-Team. What they were going to lose, they were going to lose anyway. So they get a little bit more out of it. They also snowball this into a second Drake and give themselves a potential win strategy out of that second Drake as well. Now the question, I think, is how well can CFO actually coordinate? Because we are past the laning phase. This is when you're going to see some crazy combos come out with the Death Charge and Gemini flashing in for an anchor point for the heroic entrance. There's a lot of different ways they can sync together their abilities, but we haven't really seen CFO do this in the past. When CFO tried to play a Wombo comp against J-Team, it fell flat on its face, and we all remember how that game went with the Malphite. So we'll see if CFO can actually pull this style off. What?
Well, they've already started that dredge line again. I don't know, Clement. The blades fly once again. Mission with a great ulti. Enso just missing out, but still taunted down. Herald's going to come through as Kongyue now spotted. Teleport burn from Driver. They want to stop this one. CFO made a bit hypey here on the Herald play. It's smited down. It's negated. So nice from J-Team to hold the line.
All right, I overreacted. I think J-Team actually defended that well, but how the hell does Koala get every single Q onto Little V? That's just not supposed to happen.
The whole series, Clement. The whole series, the Caitlyn game, like the last Xayah game as well. Lil B walks into it. I don't know if it's so amazing for Koala or if Lil B's like a heat-seeking missile, or at least he's been the target all along.
Like, Koala's not doing anything that's particularly subtle. Like, he's actually just walking across the minion wave in plain view to find the Q. So, to be fair, he's had a lot of very good dredge lines, but you have to put some blame there on Lil V. Now it's Rest's turn to see if he can actually clear this wave and prevent the dive. I think he's just dead.
I think he is. Against the wall, though, he doesn't get stunned up, and he's away. Flashes, Clement. The heroic charge doesn't get the stun, and Kongyue makes it so that Rest is able to escape. Now for bottom side, CFO might not have the Herald anymore, but this turret is going down with turret plating going over to Mission.
I didn't know that was even possible, that you could still flash out even though the stun lands. Yeah, really remarkable that he's able to get that one to go. Gets out scot-free, and that's a free tower in the bot lane. So CFO, even though they don't find the combo, they take all the objectives.
It's kind of a trend in this series, isn't it? Trend in this series that no matter how hard J-Team try, CFO's response is either equal to or greater than. And, you know, I feel like J-Team need to get their dues in this game. It's a much better early game, but CFO, now with almost a 3k gold lead, it's dive after dive bot that Shun still didn't die from. Clement, it's a 2-0 Kaiser, and he was dove 3 different times. Like, I'm not sure how this game has ended up this way when J-Team had a pretty clear-cut gameplay. Yeah,
just very unfortunate from Lil V. I think both of his deaths were completely preventable. Like, they should not have happened in a normal scenario. So there's definitely a little bit of blame there to go around. And now CFO, with a secure bot lane, is going to start just punishing Driver again and again.
It's a Hex Tech play. What did Jace do? He enabled his enemies to get behind him. Well, CFO with another, but now rest caught on out. The weak side, apparently, is J-Team to get a response. It's great, but what else can they achieve here, Clement? It feels like J-Team need more and more rather than just trading.
Yeah, they need to get ahead of the situation at some point. And I think right now, a lot of their tools have have just kind of fallen off. They don't have the poke angle anymore from the side of Little V and from Driver. Ooh.
Okay, and so Like's also walking into hook. Shouldn't took a bit of damage there, so credit to Lil V and Enso for forcing out the 80 carry. Mission's there on the wing. I'm scared of this replay because I feel like Mission's going to gank soon.
I have the same idea here. I think we all know what's going to happen here. He just gets caught out by overwhelming amounts of crowd control, but I want to know what's happening live. Because last time we checked, Mission just walked right into lane and, okay, nothing happened.
Okay, close call. It's always a close call. It's same in LPL, right? We go into a replay, we go, hang on a minute, dude. We're about to Baron part 2. I feel like the Eastern regions can't really go into replays. VCS, no. PCS, and LPL. Replays sometimes should just be taken out.
I feel like they're 10-second max replays. Like, you can't go into contextual replays. I love that the production gives casters time to go into that, but sometimes what's happening on screen is definitely a little bit more important. Coming back into this game, talking about J-Team's win conditions, I think they have to play a kiting game. Their siege doesn't really have enough damage, and they're in massive amounts of danger by Koala, who still has his flash there, so it should be very easy to chain up into a heroic entrance. What I think they need to do is they need to keep a very long amount of safe distance, and also have Kongrye just to make sure that they can cut everyone off right here. This time I think they just out-rotated CFO, honestly, on this play. Yep. And the objective fights is where I feel like they're going to have the most trouble, because that's the sort of fight where CFO have the most chance to section them off, have Kaisa going one way, and, Mission keeping people on the other side, and Gemini just finishing off targets. So the objective fights for me are going to be the most difficult parts of the game from J-Team from this point onward.
Especially when you're just talking about Mission. I mean, he's got his Zhonya's Hourglass. That's a 2-item Galio here, who is ahead of Uniboy in both CS and both Gold in this game. He was also able to pick up a turret down on the bottom side while full plating was available. So Mission is not only level 12, but in a great position yet again, despite the champion's style change. We talked about this not really being some of the best of Mission's champion pool, but so far on this Galio, he's had a pretty great performance. I think a great performance in the series is fair to say. He's had a bit of a mid-diff. So again, you talk about around the objectives, even around turrets, Clement, a Mission with his ulti available off onto the wing pushing side lanes is always a threat.
This time around, CFO aren't trying to contest into the blind vision range right here. They're just waiting until J-Team potentially splits up, but I'm not really sure why J-Team is full chasing right here. I think their chances of completing this chase are actually fairly narrow. They're probably just shooing away CFO so they can't clear the wave as soon as possible.
Makes sense. Wave pushing the top side from Mission just before they rotated back around towards mid. So Driver's going to have to catch that one. And, we're moving into a mid-game, Clement, where, you talked about how CFO's comp comes together. We've already idolized that and around objectives. You did also mention that J-Team, the late game is still, is still optimal, right? Even with Jace, Xayah, like, we have a lot of champions with great damage outputs and not any real frontline tanks. So walk me through a little bit what J-Team have to do in this mid-game and how they get to that advantage that we wanted to see.
I will say I think J-Team actually didn't catch their early game spikes for either the Jace or the Xayah in lane to allow them to feel as impactful in the late game. We have seen games where, Jace gets a good early game, Xayah gets a good early game, and they just get free scaling into late. This, unfortunately, is not one of those games, so I do feel like because of the damage profile difference, they will have a very shaky mid game where CFO will massively out damage them, and they can also reach the backline a little bit easier. So what I'm really looking to prevent, to kind of steady the ship from J-Team, has to come from Kongrye. I think he has to have some of the best stuns and backline guarding that we have ever seen him pull off in order to get a successful win.
It's hard, right? He's going to pop the Predator, though, and maybe this is the way he does it. Maybe it's the phase rush, excuse me. It's Mission's own. Bursted out. The damage from rest of Mission cannot be trifled with. His teleport up to the top side after the nick of battle. And a little bit of a defensive play from J-Team while they lose yet another turret. So Clement, I guess we can kind of see the movement speed coming through from J-Team's jungler and how he can find that position you're talking about.
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility. He can't engage in this sort of team composition for sure, but he has tremendous potential, I think, especially by catching the killer instincts from Shun. If he does that, he would get the main damage dealer off of CFO, and they could instantly kill him. So that has to be something that we watch a lot of the times, and frankly, I think Shun is not going to join most of these combos unless he sees that the W is down.
As Gemini spots him over the wall. Shun's damage as well. Worth mentioning the profile. We've got Loon's Echo as a second item. Shun with upgrades. The W upgrade there as well. So every 2 seconds, if he hits a champion, it's coming again. I love watching Kaisers in this meta because when they hit things like 80 carries, Clement, like Oriana's, even the Jaces, it hurts. It's noticeable. Stupid. Yeah, it does.
We've seen a lot of half HPs from the Kaisa, and this is the
you know what else
we're
is stupid?
Talking about.
A 1v1 if Driver walks into this. You know, Mission is coming through as well. Everfrost rolling in. The collateral damage Mission is on the chase. He'll have to run away. That's, yeah, scary. Rest is still big despite being 0-2.
Yeah, that's the problem when you have two sustained 80 carries facing up against each other.
Oh, ooh, Koala again. He knows he hits Lil V all the time. As he goes golden, though, he's in a pretty bad position. He's got a bit deep for this one, Clement, and Uniboy's going to be able to pick up the kill. Good little response, and Baron's up and available mid-open for the time being. J-Team posturing aggressively.
That one was kind of crazy from Koala. I'm not sure what he was thinking about that one, to be honest. Like, his top laner and mid laner were not there. I think he's underestimating Little V. Okay, Little V might have messed up a couple times this series, but I think you have to show the man some respect rather than flashing in on Azaya with ult.
That's true, dude. I mean, again, Little V always walking towards dredge line, so I understand why Koala would do it, especially being 2-0 up. Like, CFO have been by far the better team in this series. You'd be feeling confident right now knowing that this series only takes one more step. It's J-Team who are pressured. And so, in this game, still 3,000 gold lead. CFO still hold the reins. But J-Team towards this next dragon. Clement, in 40 seconds, we're going to have to see if it all comes together because we are getting some pretty strong items here. Driver finally hitting 2. Uniboy almost at 3. They're trying to set up a pick before the objective. Rest has to back away. And we're finally going to see if J-Team can win a fight.
Yeah, for sure here. And I think the way we have to look at J-Team's fight is I don't think they have good terrain pushing potential. So they likely have to get to the objective first, poke out the enemy team, and then have some great defense from Kongyue with a steadfast presence to make sure they can lock down either Gemini or most likely Shun, kill him instantly. That would be the best case scenario for J-Team. But I also like what CFO is doing here. They realize that J-Team's comp is not good at pushing through these Fog of War positions, so they're setting up for a trade.
They're going to go on to Shun, but look, he's already done the damage. Flash away from the ult. Koala caught out yet again, though. He's blasted. Shun ulties to the backline. But look at the rest of CFO. They've flanked them. Driver in a bad position, and Shun is already out of there. And now they're getting collapsed on those W's doing damage, and Gemini on the chase. How did CFO find an angle in this fight? There's teleport to get away. Driver's running on the other side. They've got him, but Uniboy, just in the nick of time, more rest, is taken down. Driver and now split cam. CFO styling on J-Team yet again. It doesn't matter what window they get. It's CTBC flying Oyster that are so damn high in this sky.
Once again, Little V gets caught out and does absolutely nothing. He just straight up dies with Flash and Featherstorm. So J-Team instantly lacked the majority of their damage, and even though they were the ones going for the pick, I just feel like they got a little bit complacent. They weren't looking at their AD carry, or their AD carry wasn't looking at where CFO were, and CFO just find a super easy fight out of nowhere. If you kill the AD carry straight off the bat, there's not much J-Team can do after that.
I'm just so surprised because, Clement, you said the short range, the fights have to come together perfectly. That was janky, but it worked. It worked so nicely. And J-Team split apart. Rest picking up 2 kills in that fight. Shun once again showing us how dangerous this build can be. And Mission has just been perfect this series. By far the better mid laner than Uniboy. He's been styling and kind of reminding us why, you know, in the past he's been called one of the best, why he's been one of the most notable mid laners in the region.
PCS faker.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. It's Maker, dude. You know, we have you know, in LPL, we've taken Fofo. People call him Foka. Here, Clement, we call him Maker. All right, and this series he deserves to be called Maker.
All right. We'll watch this fight again. So J-Team go with a super risky catch. They don't have great engage tool, but here is the critical moment. Little V walks into River, gets ganked by Gemini, and dies before even getting an auto attack. That's the majority of their damage just gone. J-Team cannot fight, and they're in a super bad position getting chased down in 2 places here. You see Driver dying on the bottom side, and Gemini nearly catching out Uniboy on the top side again. I just feel like J-Team, they didn't play towards their objectives. You know, they should have reset the map, you chase off CFO, but still go back to the situation where you have to be on the objectives first, and you don't have to rely on Poppy for engage. It's just not really a good engage tool.
True. I mean, we've seen this game. It's Kongyue's pick as well. Kongyue, I remember Mad Team, and I remember seeing them at Rift Rivals, Clement. And... you know, Mad Team was someone who had so much swagger, right? Kongyue's Poppy pick is... I'll pause on that. He's going to be chasing down good Everfrost, but it doesn't slow down Kongyue. The man I was just talking about, unable to follow up, and Mission drags 3 away. Meanwhile, Waves crashing in with the Baron buff at their heel. Rest is destroying in the solo lane. 2 levels up over Driver. He's going into the Jace. Like he just doesn't care. Driver's sitting here. I don't know how confident he should be. I mean, Lil B gets tagged by W, and again, they fly through. Clement, CFO, 1 step away from getting to the semifinals, and Rest showing us that they mean business.
Little V has done no auto attacks in the last 2 fights. This is getting from bad to worse. CFO just massive snowball, 6k base open. They want to close things.
Semi-finals on the wing in 3-0 fashion. We thought J-Team and CFO would have the best chance of taking us to 5 games. But CFO looked like they hit Challenger only yesterday, and J-Team is still trying to get into plat promos at this point. The gap is massive. And as J-Team are on their final base defense and their final moment of the series, it feels like CFO are laughing at this point. 1 step away from semi-finals. CTBC flying Oyster, the 3rd seed in PCS Spring Playoffs, have come to play. And honestly, Clement, I feel like I'm going to change my prediction of who's getting into finals based on this.
Yeah, I feel like CFO might be a much stronger opponent against PSG than I initially thought. This is the thing about teams where you know they have great personnel, but low synergy. They can always bring that synergy up. That's the thing. Like I feel like synergy is much easier to achieve compared to mechanics. And CFO are proving that old point true, you know? Rest, once again, just trying to go for Little V.
Oh, God, run. Oh, everything hurts to watch. Little V has double summoners, though, guys. It's okay.
He's using him as a damage test.
Yeah. He's kind of playing around with his food. You know, I was watching the Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, Clement. You know, Predator. The old school Predator from the 70s.
I remember that one.
And, you know, the Predator's playing with them all, picking them apart piece by piece. It's just a game for him. And for Rest, he's playing the best damn game, man. He is the Predator in this one. JT are the pro.
Well, I hope Kongyue gets to say, get to the chopper, as he does swing around that hammer.
Let's go, Clement. Dude,
can he actually save someone?
Work together. Oh, man. I missed you so much.
Oh, here we go.
Might be only 3, but they try for the final play. Double knock-up, good. J-Team in their final defense might have something here for Koala with the re-engage and depth touch, but he's by himself.
Beautiful.
3 versus 5. J-Team survive for now.
And that was a play I was talking about. We saw Kongyue just go in and put the W up. Once the steadfast presence was there, Shun does not get to use Killer Instinct. He has to stay on the periphery, and they just get to kill Graves for free. So finally some good revenge right there. I think J-Team are not going to go down without a fight.
Well, I'm glad, because I was worried at seeing this close out to 3-0 at the very least. The game will continue for now. Now, we've got Dragon Soul for J-Team, but they have to walk towards this. Jungle for Gemini. Needs to find himself an angle. Lil V, wait, what?
Really?
Wait! Lil V has to flash away missions here. Okay, now he's only got 1 summoner left. He's tagged by the W. Missions all in there, might get solved, but the problem is Shun's on his way into the backside. Lil V this series, the biggest question mark here, as CFO making an exclamation mark. Their point has been made as Drivers onto the backside. doesn't want this to end for now, but Rest still lives.
TP's
And that's
going
who
in,
they'll
though.
be scared of the most. Driver on top of Koala, but here's Graves again, locked down. It might not matter as Mission wants to end it here. Mr. Clement Chu, the PCS, told me this was being a 5-game series, but CFO came in today and said, this is our semi-final berth. J-Team will not take it away.
Oh boy, we were coming into this series thinking that this might be the coronation of Shun into the elite tier of ADCs in the PCS. What I didn't expect to see is Lil V actually just vacating his spot. Like, he honestly was pretty baffling. I feel like he was very tilted when it came down to game 3, and it didn't make things significantly easier for CFO. You know, that should have been a Hextech Soul into a base defense where they already had a winning team fight further on with the use of the Poppy W, but none of that actually happened. They just overextended massively right into Gemini's waiting arms, and CFL said, okay, that was your flash. We're gonna end the game right here, right now.
I mean, we got an hour and a half of game time just about. Hardly anything played on Summoner's Rift.